definitely we're in for another set of insane games here. I do believe it's going to be exciting to see who comes out ahead here, and it's going to be our Brazilian representative once again.
Pre-bans go out. Oliver's in there. Gianna's finding her way to the bench this game too.
Yeah, no surprise there. Oliver, frequent visitor in the pre-ban, and Gianna, obviously, very oppressive monster. Pandalike picking up that Shiho first pick. We'll see if ZEZAS. Oh no, there it is instantly. No thought given to it. Just Josephine right away. No problem.
And how could I refute that, dude? When she's had such a great performance today, only taken like 1 or 2 L's today, and one of them was to a weird Fire Megami interaction.
Yeah, really. Josephine just such a powerhouse. Like, this unit is insane. We'll see, does Pandalike have the counter to it? Does pick up another stunning monster in the Okeanos there, but it also does have a reset.
ZEZAS opens and replies with the Misty and the Juno. Juno's a monster that, we could have stood to see a little bit more of today, and this is like only maybe the second game that I can remember seeing her today.
Yeah, Juno is definitely falling a little bit out of the meta with how popular Shiho has become. Shiho just has a lot of damage in that skill 3, and Juno can't really keep up with that damage. But definitely do like the pick here. Okeanos also does provide a lot of damage, but alongside these other uncontrollable, strong solo units, this draft is looking strong for ZEZAS.
Yeah, and speaking of damage, Chao's out, Cassandra's out. Both of them are offering too much power. And so we're left with these 4 going in here to match number 4, the last matchup, Pandalike versus ZEZAS, who will be our Brazilian representative at the America's Cup in São Paulo on October 11th.
Yeah, Shiho kicking us off, getting that stun off element on the Sierra. Also some nice damage. ZEZAS doesn't have any heals apart from the Juno passive healing, as well as, I guess, Josephine shields, which are some sort of sustain, not healing. By the way, that damage is likely to, stick on that Sierra. She doesn't proc out of it, so Pandalike is quite protected here on turn 1. Josephine also didn't get an initial turn.
Yeah, and here comes the stuns. A stun sticking on Josephine. That is a rare sight to see. Asher procking out a stun, significantly less rare sight to see.
Yeah, I was just going to say that is a much more common sight we have there, and a lot of damage pummeled into this Sierra. Already looking low, and Patter just decides to finish the job. Gets the kill there.
Pandalike is looking pretty strong. All of a sudden getting that early kill. That's really good for Pandalike here.
I'm not sure about that Shiho skill too there, stunning up that Juno, giving that speed buff. And obviously, she's just going to be getting heals off that, so not a huge fan of utilizing that skill there. Much more prefer that stun on that Josephine there. And now the Shiho is getting, and does have skill 3 available once again, but this Misty is doing a lot of damage.
Oh, and that heal block is so important. Unfortunately, that looks like it's going to be the only occurrence of it falling on the Misty as the Asher gets taken down.
Yeah, Pandalike realizing that this Misty is a big problem here. Okeanos getting some nice violent proc, getting a lot of damage, and I think Patter might be able to finish off the Misty here, Evan.
What? No way. This is a big play if Misty goes down here, because dies to the dot on upkeep. So now all of a sudden Pandalike effectively dropping all these walls in between him and that first point in this matchup.
Well, not exactly. There's that Josephine, and it is paired with Juno as well, so ZEZAS is still looking quite good here. Pandalike is able to get a lot of nice stuns on this Josephine, actually able to control this monster against full odds. But nope, Josephine's right there, procs right out. Patter does have the cleanse available.
Look at that, there's a powerful cleanse and immunity here. Can weave in a little bit of damage. This is great, so he can get back into Druid form. So that way he's immune to stun, or rather wakes up on his upkeep here. Big skill 3. Probably not enough to take. Wait, is it enough to kill? No way! Pandalike showing us the answer to this anti-stun unit is just bringing so many stuns that she can't stop all of them.
Yeah, just bringing, or enough damage to just power through. And now somehow this Juno is resisting every single stun. Very unfortunate for ZEZAS here. And Shiho does go down, but I do believe Patter is going to beat out this Juno, as you can't stun this monster. Definitely doesn't want to. Let's go for the Moonlight's Grace. I am not a huge fan of that play. Yes, now you open yourself out to being stun locked. But ZEZAS is actually not going for the stun. Just going for the skill 1. Doesn't get the stun. The skill 2 might be enough to finish off the Juno here. Not quite.
Yeah, like super big damage on that skill 2. in beast form as well. Goes in here, doesn't want to stun, is rewarded. PANDALIK still ahead with the wild flow to finish it off. Crits on the Juno and secures his first point against ZEZAS.
Wow. I mean, that was an extremely close game, right? We saw that there. That Patter survived maybe 15% health. That was very close. You know, I thought that Patter would take that matchup a lot more convincingly, but ZEZAS really having good artifacts in that Juno. We saw it doing 2,700 damage a hit. I think it was about 2.7k a hit. It's a lot of damage coming out of that Juno and almost taking out the Patter there at the end.
It was a lot, even against that Shiho, right? That's where you really see the artifacts pop off. I'm really impressed by PANDALIK there again. Like, I said it half in jest, but it's like he was able to effectively weave in those stuns against the Josephine and keep her locked down while her passive was on cooldown.
Yeah, ZEZAS noticing how big of a problem that Patter was, now just pre-banning it. And does get the Oliver this matchup, but PANDALIK just instantly taking a Josephine. Don't even need a stun on the side of ZEZAS. We are not taking Josephine. Opts to go for the CC himself, which worked out very well.
Yeah, I see why he went with it. It did work out great. This is like practically a run back we're getting.
Yeah, almost. You know, Misty is back in the field. Josephine, obviously no surprises, back on the field. And PANDALIK definitely needs to bring some sort of damage here to deal with this Misty, or maybe a slow debuffer. I would love to see a Layla here.
A Layla would be really cool. I'm also a fan of that heal block on Asher's skill 1 into the Misty, who we know is runed on Vamp Revenge. How many rune sets can I say before I get to the one I want? Here comes the Chow that has been super effective for ZEZAS.
Yeah, I do like the Chow pick once again, as well as the Annabelle. Pretty nice. You know, there are no wind monsters on the side of PANDALIK. That's why I probably would like to see that Layla being drafted. But the Chandra is also not a bad pick. You know, just provide speed as well as that slow, which is so crucial in killing this Misty. But now there is the Layla making it to the draft, but it's going to be banned out.
Yeah, at that point, it kind of has to be. There is still a source of that slow debuff on PANDALIK's side as well, so he can try to mitigate the passive from Misty with Chandra's skill 3. Let's see, we are off to the races, and Shiho is taking turn 1 again.
We are here. Can she get the stun on the Annabelle? Likely to be high resistance. Doesn't get it. Maybe even doesn't want the stun, to be honest, because that doesn't activate the Josephine passive now. And now Annabelle obviously moving to full immunity. Kind of an awkward turn. Just opting to go for heal here. Josephine punches the hole for the Oliver, and now ZEZAS looking to just control PANDALIK's Ashore here.
Yeah, and there's the proc after resetting the Josephine means that we could weave in some stuns without activating it. Annabelle falls prey.
Yeah, only one stun there. Kind of unfortunate, but this Chandra getting those slows, getting the attack bar boost. Now Shiho maybe patching up those stuns. Does stun the Josephine here, and Annabelle used her heal turn 1. Oh my goodness, Okeanos is absolutely popping off. Double resist.
The power of Okeanos, only beaten by resistances.
Yeah, that is incredible. We've seen Okeanos miss quite a bit today, actually. We saw him miss against that Dark Monkey earlier as well, and he's extremely consistent with that skill too since the buff. You know, having 2 chances to get that buff move and the reset, but it's just still not enough, I guess.
Yeah, what a nice buff that was to him. He really felt the impact of that in his kit. Let's see if he wants to go for another proc here. Nope, opts to just play it cool this time, lay low.
Yeah, giving ZEZAS a little bit of a chance here, you know, not proccing quite every turn. But Oliver, you know, dodging that reset somehow, someway is primed and ready here, getting all that attack bar off of the Shiho, and Chandra is not punishing with the stun.
Oh, and big plays from Annabelle. Setting up the death breaks. We're about to see a couple monsters potentially fall down.
Yeah, Chandra not going for the kill on the Annabelle, getting a bit greedy here. Get rid of that Oliver, and for good reason, because this Oliver is an absolute menace. Getting the attack bar off element there. Well, I mean, that is quite unfortunate for, fortunate for PANDALIK in getting that many violent procs, but also very unfortunate missing that recess. That was ultimately what ZEZAS needed to win the game.
Yeah, sometimes it comes down to accuracy. Res checks acontece, Ligi, right? You know, it's like it happens sometimes, even with a buffed Okeanos. That's crazy to say. We'll see how it shapes up here in this next round. Again, no player at the point advantage here. They still get one more time where they can kind of falter before they have to show up and get that game-winning point.
Yeah, can still afford mistakes here, and we go to a PANDALIK pre-banning the Ashore. He's been utilizing that Ashore, I believe, in both the Game 1 and Game 2, so a bit surprising to see that in the pre-bans here. Now, I'm sure he has thought about some answer here. You know, probably taking the Oliver first pick.
Yeah, I suppose the Asher being a really decent answer to that. Here comes the Josephine for sure. Pandalike not missing a beat.
Yeah, takes the Josephine this time, as well as accompanied by that patter. I do like that. ZEZAS is really believing in this Misty, picking it up for the third game in a row.
And it's like, I get it. That's a tough monster to have to dance around. And he's taking away a source of the slow debuff.
Yeah, I do like that Layla pick. It's a pretty nice combination with that Shiho. You know, Shiho likely getting turn one, getting that stun, then gives Layla that 20% attack bar to follow right back up. But there are no heals on the side of ZEZAS, so Pandalike capitalizing with that Aya here. I'm not a huge fan of Aya here once again. You know, you only really do have the Layla with the AoE debuffs right now, so ZEZAS can definitely play around that.
Right. This is very similar to that situation from earlier. We saw an Aya picked largely similarly, and ultimately it means that, yeah, and with another single target unit like this, it means that the opponent can have a lot of choice, like you called out back then and now. So Aya might actually not soak the ban.
Yeah, I do like that last pick from ZEZAS again. You know, just going for that single target stuff, as you mentioned, really doesn't need to worry about this Aya at all. It's going to be the ban on the Fire Monkey, as well as, you know, again, not really caring about this Aya, banning out the speed in the Oliver, and likely going to be outspeeding this Efna now.
All right, let's see. Shiho does, in fact, get the stun on the Etna and absorbs that hit from Josephine.
Yeah, Layla can just opt to go for the debuffs here, getting the Aya that turn, and actually getting a very insane stun, as well as the cleanse block on the Patter, so Patter will be controlled here.
He's definitely like going into the Aya a little bit more than I was expecting.
Yeah, he really is. That's Aya's, you know, taking all these debuffs here now, so gonna have another. Oh, yeah, he can actually even use the Patter skill 3 here, because there's cleanse block on Aya, so he won't even cleanse all the debuffs here.
Yeah, accidental synergy.
Yeah, accidental synergy is working very well for Pandalike here. ZEZAS, yeah, a bit, you know, I think he had the answer against Aya, just didn't have to use these skills as much as he did. And now this Efna is going to be taken off the battlefield. It's a violent Efna, getting an unnecessary violent proc there. But that is likely going to be the end of this Vanessa here.
Close enough, I'd say, for the most part. Yeah, I think, you know, you can just kind of play for the long game instead, as we've seen in the past with this Aya. So I think it might have bitten him a little bit. He's not entirely out just yet, as we're seeing, but missing that stun while he's in beast form does kind of hurt.
Yeah, it's a big miss on the stun there. And now the Aya actually catches that slow. Wait, he didn't kill the Vanessa there? That's definitely a misplay. He definitely should have done that Aya skill on the Vanessa, take it down, and the Wild Blow would have taken out the Misty as well. That's a big misplay coming out of Pandalike, and it might cost him.
There's a heal block here, but he's going to come out of defense break, which is really big, because that's going to still inhibit some damage coming at him. And yeah, this is a moment for ZEZAS to turn it around. That was a misplay. That Vanessa was sitting at like 1 HP after the Aya drain.
Yeah, definitely was. So any, you know, tickle damage would have been enough. Didn't need to get that heal block on the Misty if it would have died. And now this Misty's out of that heal block, and the Layla doesn't go down.
Layla has the chance here, sets up the cleanse block on the Josephine, frees up the chance for Shiho to lay down some damage without having to fear anything. She falls. Pater is shortly after her.
And I believe the skill... Is the skill 2 going to be enough to take out the Pater here? I think it might be. Oh, it's not quite enough. Oh, he gets the violent proc.
Dangerous. Dangerous. I don't know, dude. I don't know if you needed to necessarily do that. Skill 2 on the Aya. Skill 2. Wait, but he's provoked. Oh no, he's provoked by Aya. I thought he was provoked. I forgot he wasn't provoked by the Pater.
Oh my god!
Oh! Wait a minute! Dude!
I'm sitting here making weird monkey noises or something. Oh,
I know.
What happened?
The Shiho effect. Oh my god. There was a lot to unpack in that game. There's a lot to unpack. There was hastiness with the Aya. There was potentially mistargeting on the Vanessa. There's a lot to unpack in that game. What are your thoughts, Topa?
Yeah, that was just, again, we need that on like 0.25 speed, because that happened way too fast, because the monsters were even provoked, so couldn't even really like see what was going on. But yeah, Aya actually somehow, you know, living there. Definitely a misplay not killing the Vanessa, because PANDALIK could have secured the game right then and there. Kill the Vanessa with even 1 damage, pattern skill 2 on the Misty, and you pretty much just win the game from there on out. Fast played, you know, that Aya actually lives somehow, gets a skill 2 off after a violent proc, doesn't get a single hit on the Misty, as the Misty was at literal 1 HP. So Misty lives, Misty is able to get another skill off, able to heal back up a little bit. Aya gets another violent proc, and somehow lives the She-Ho skill 1 with 1 HP and takes it. That was an incredible, you know, I guess Aya was the phenomenal pick at the end there, because ZEZAS almost played right into
it. Yeah, I guess she was, and at the end too, that the Layla skill 2, I don't know if it needed to happen. I think, but I need to go back and see. I'm saying all this with just a loose, like very vague vision in my head of what the game state looked like. I want to see it again, but the skill 2 from Layla was going to feed some debuffs to Aya, so then Aya was going to get attack bar and accelerate to her next turn. So there was a lot going on. We'll talk about it more in the highlights. For now, we are in round 3, and this is potentially PANDALIK's last game, as he is at match point. If he can beat ZEZAS right now, if he can lock in, he will be our Brazilian representative at the America's Cup in Sao Paulo on October 11th.
Absolutely, yeah. PANDALIK, after that insane game, now finds himself a match point here against none other than ZEZAS, you know, a very strong opponent here. And we seen the draft, you know, pretty typical CR first pick as the Oliver's pre-banned into the, you know, the double CC options. Then we see the response, you know, the Josephine and the anti-CC of that Misty once again making an appearance in all 4 games so far. And then the response to Shizuka, you know, does have that invisibility, does have that revenge buff, but that Juno is still an extremely strong pick into this. And now I do believe that Cassandra does need to be the ban.
As she so often is, she loves that 5th pick slot. It's basically a lock on the first 4 monsters in most situations.
Yeah, PANDALIK does not want to fight against that sustain of the Angela. Does leave the Misty in. You know, he has dealt with the Misty with varying degrees of success here. Does still have that heal block coming out of the Bayek, as well as, you know, Okeanos could potentially throw some slows that way, as well as, you know, Shizuka can do that too.
Yeah, and this is going to be a difficult game for ZEZAS as well, especially considering that, like, you know, Okeanos has reset, Shizuka can place invincibility on the whole team. Juno is not getting the despair stuns that we'd like to see, and Ciara is slacking on the bombs.
Oh, that's so unfortunate. This is actually, that is very unfortunate miss from the Josephine, as that, you know, made it so that Juno kind of had to use her buff remove too. But now Shizuka's skill 3 is unchecked. Also a bit maybe fortunate for ZEZAS in not landing the slow or the bomb, because now when Shizuka uses skill 3 here, there's actually no bomb or slow coming on ZEZAS' side.
Right, and there's no strip on Juno left. Like, she tried to, ZEZAS used it earlier, so this is going to be the waiting game.
I would like to see that Juno hit the Bayek, maybe, you know, get that revenge, get that heal block on yourself, get that little bit of healing going. Just going for that Shizuka, which, you know, is revenging and potentially could have even taken away that speed buff. And now PANDALIK is looking to be in a pretty commanding lead here as he's sitting at match point.
Yeah, strong lead here with Brazil on the line. PANDALIK not giving ZEZAS an inch in this game. Doesn't want to give him a chance to win at all. Yeah,
it really doesn't, you know, that Shizuka skill 3 is now wearing off, but Okeanos is getting another nice violent proc. Another reset, drops down. The Misty is still looking healthy, and, you know, we've seen these Josephines do crazier things, and, you know, she's starting to do something with that double stun after the violent proc.
Exactly, and that's the thing that PANDALIK still needs to be afraid of right now. The Misty's in play, the Josephine's here. You know, he had a super strong opener, but I doubt that ZEZAS is going to leave that Juno skill 2 on cooldown in the future. Now he's aware that this is going to happen. Here comes the Asher.
Oh my God.
Lands the crits and the defense breaks that he needs to take down Josephine.
What was that, Josephine a wind monster? Because I'm not sure this Bayek missed a single crit there. I believe the defense broke the first hit and just proceeded to crit every single time and just deletes the Josephine from the... What? There's some crazy games going on here.
Attribute advantage on that Josephine for some reason. He had Elemental King for one moment when he needed it. Now, is this Misty gonna do its best Raigeki's Misty impression?
Ooh, it's doing it. Juno getting that nice strip on that Soul Protect on the bike, so Fire does go down. He can't do a whole lot here, only really just giving that Juno heals. And Misty might be looking to take this game as that monkey drops here.
Look at the damage. Oh my goodness, dude. Look at the damage coming out of this Misty. And remember, chat, he's ruined on Vamp. He's healing off of all this. Oki can do some damage here, but it's not even enough to take down the Juno.
Yeah, this Misty is also Rune of Revenge and has been revenging a lot throughout all of these games here. You know, I don't know if they can take down this Misty at this point. Has to kill this Juno. And like wisely reviving that bike, knowing that the bike skill 3 is going to be his way to victory here. Shizuka does have skill 3 available, and opts to go for it. You know, getting that protection, and those 2 turns will be enough to get her back into that revive.
Yeah, and look at this. Couple just dud turns here from Misty. Now can bring back the Asher if he's so inclined.
Goes for the Shiho
opts to bring
instead,
back
but doesn't
Shiho.
no skills available.
Yeah, he doesn't have skills. Oh no, I thought I thought Pandalike was working towards the Asher, and look at Misty lapping.
Yeah,
and that's it.
Too much.
The Misty takes it back. The second time we've seen that in the Americas prelims run so far. ZEZAS takes the win, ties it up 2-2. Both players sitting at match point. This is guaranteed to be the final round in the tournament today. One of these people is going to Brazil as an America's Cup representative.
Yeah, the other probably going to Brazil as a viewer, as they are both our Brazilian representatives. We'll likely see them there either way, but you know, they both want this bad. And we see, you know, ZEZAS Misty wants it real bad, and Pandalike's Ashore wants it real bad. All those crits on that Josephine. And Pandalike now banning his MVP almost in that Ashore. I don't quite understand this pre-ban. I would almost like them to see pre-ban that Misty, because ZEZAS has picked it every single game, and it has been devastating.
Yeah, he believes in the Misty, and so do I. He has turned us all into a believer.
We see a Josephine first pick. The Oliver's in the pre-ban, so you know there's no reason potential there. And instead of just going for a Monkey or Okeanos that gets countered by the Josephine, Pandalike decides, you know what, I'm just gonna take the Josephine.
Yeah, it's funny to see him take it with you know, such priority, because like he's been dancing around the Josephine decently well today.
Yeah, he definitely has, but maybe also realized that Misty is, you know, quite a counter to that CC comp, so can't really let ZEZAS have the Josephine and the Misty together. Now, yeah, still opting to go for that CC lineup. Maybe we see the Monkey picked up as well.
What?
Takes it back.
He's rethinking, of all things, the Oki. Well, the Oki has missed skill 2 a couple times, but the Okeanos has been really good. ZEZAS picking that Misty so fast, I blinked and he was there.
Yeah, absolutely. ZEZAS knows exactly that Misty is the carry, and you know, wants him back on his roster here. Pandalike does have the Gianna for some bomb damage going towards that Misty, but definitely needs another damage dealer here.
Needs bold plays. Layla providing the slow. That's a good play. And the Moore.
Moore making an appearance once again. I don't know. I would almost like a Shiho here again, though. I feel like that invincibility is just so clutch against the Misty. You know, it can't leech any life if you don't deal any damage. But the Moore is the pick instead, and now ZEZAS actually does have the Layla available, and he's looking to pick it up here.
Yeah, this, you know... Oh, he's thinking about it, but opts for Chow. I mean, Chow has been pretty consistently banned by Pandalike every time ZEZAS has picked it. So it makes sense that he'd want to maybe wrap up his draft here and try to confirm the 4, see if Pandalike still values it as highly as he did in the past. Yeah,
probably does need to ban out this Chow here once again. The Moore is getting banned out, so there's no disruption, or not nearly as much disruption to this Jogan turn 1. And ZEZAS is looking to just bomb a unit of Pandalikes right here, right now.
Alright, everyone is on Will. Here comes Jogan trying to remove those buffs off the table. Boost attack bar. Defense break from Annabelle. This is the big moment with attack buff bomb from Ciara. You hate to see it if you're Pandalike. Pater falls big time. And attack buff Misty coming up here. Is that enough? That's going to push Gianna closer to the brink.
Yeah, so close to dying there. And Misty getting the revenge on a defense broken. Josephine almost taken out as well. And ZEZAS came to play this round 5 and is looking to take a very dominant victory over Pandalike. But it's not quite over yet. She does have skills available. Drops that bomb in the Misty very wisely, you know, knowing that that is kind of the issue. But Jogan still has Seal available.
Yeah, and that is an attack broken bomb as well, I think. So, you know, Gianna is not going to do as much. Annabelle heeding the call, procking out. ZEZAS securing the win, 3-2 against PANDALIK. He will be the Brazilian representative at the America's Cup.